It's your time to live well, and you have tuned into the Holistically Speaking podcast, where we're teaching you to be well and be whole in your body, your joy factor, in every season and pivot of your life, in your mental health and your well-being. Are you ready for this episode? Excellent. Tune in. You won't be disappointed. Hello, everybody. And we are on Happy Wellness Wednesday, everybody. Or as we say, Happy Wellness Wednesday. And we title it as Wellness because it is us doing wellness our way, deciding what is important for our lives, mind, body, soul, and spirit, because all of those areas are important in order for us to live well and whole. And that is that's our motto, to be well and whole. And how do we accomplish that? So you're going to join us in a very informative, fun, well-rounded, holistic conversation, as always, as you see to my right or left, based on how the screen is inverted. One of my favorite people who are joining us once again. We have adopted her as our resident therapist. And of course, we're going to give her the official greeting in just a moment. But if you are joining live, if you see scrolling at the bottom, type in hello in the chat. Let us know who you are. Hello, Chelsea, Taylor. Hey, you guys. Thanks, Teresa. Thank y'all for joining us. Crystal, I see you. Thank y'all for joining us. And also share this. So however you're catching us on LinkedIn or our YouTube channel, which is Well Life TV, make sure you share this episode. I love it because it's a holistic talk that is going to touch some point of everyone's life in some facet or another. So let me go through a few things with you all. Y'all know how we do this. I have a few announcements, if you will. A few announcements. Before I get to that, I want to make sure that I cover our disclaimer for this episode. Views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are the speaker's own, myself, and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of another. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. Health episodes are not intended to treat, diagnose, or cure anyone. So please seek the care of your physician. And any religious episodes shared may stem from the base of our faith belief. All are welcome.
Yes.
Y'all come on in. Come on in. I have a few announcements. Before we do that, those of you who listen in the audio podcast, Holistically Speaking, we always take a few moments to do what we call our moment of we treat. And this is our opportunity to utilize this time together to stop, slow down our rhythm, relax our face, relax our bodies, and simply breathe. I mentioned on a previous episode that the gift of breath, I believe, is one of the quickest and most accessible things that we have available to us when you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you are in an emotional state and you don't have a lifeline to call somebody. Maybe you can't form words to pray. But breathing is one of the quickest and most accessible ways that we can settle ourselves down. So we're going to take just a few seconds wherever you are. Of course, if you are driving or listening, I don't want you to close your eyes, but I do want you to breathe. But everybody relax your face, your cheeks, the tension in your forehead, unclench your jaws, relax your hands and your feet. And we are going to have just a few moments of breathing deep. We're going to breathe in and breathe out. This is your moment, your time of wellness and well-being. As we get ready to bring our few seconds to a close, you all have heard me repeat the scripture quite often. Um, that John says, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And the thing that I love about that scripture is it speaks to me in a holistic way. It reminds me that we are an ecosystem the way that God created us. And one part of me cannot do without the other part. My spirit cannot operate solely by itself. My emotions cannot and should not operate solely by themselves. But every part of us, it is the Creator's desire that we prosper, that we be in health in every aspect of our lives. And so that's why we breathe, y'all. That's why we stop and we take the time to breathe, relaxing our bodies. As we continue on, I want to let me put on the screen my wellness news. I have two announcements that I'd like to share with you all. So mark it, bookmark it. Y'all listen. I'm getting ready to start a Bible study.
Let's go.
And I'm starting a Bible study. Y'all, I'm starting a Bible study. The Lord has been nudging me for a long time. And you know how you do. Well, let me speak for myself. I know how I do. You want everything to be right and to come together and have all of the things and, all of the I's dotted and the T's crossed. And the longer I waited for things to be just right, the stronger the nudge came. So I was just like, okay, fine. We're going to start it. And we're starting it this month. And as soon as I relented to it, God said, now we're on the same page. I was like, okay.
Okay, fine.
I've been right. I'm back in the safe place. I was about to teeter-totter. I'm in a safe place. So November the 20th, and we're going to start online. I was looking at a venue, but we'll get there in the Bible studies to come. It will be online, and our series that we're going to start as God gave to me is abiding, learning how to abide. So this Bible study is for all women, for faith believers, for curious women, for all of you. We're going to learn how to understand the word of God, how to walk through life in faith through every season that life brings, the good ones, the down ones, the middle ones, the ones that are hard to define. And how do we do that and abide at the same time? So mark your calendars. November 20th, 6 p.m. You'll join me here, right here on Well Life TV. And I'm also going to show you the website at the end of the episode. It's LaShanna Leonard Moore, where you can go and just register. It's free, but it will simply let me know who is planning to attend. And then also the end of this month, we're doing a marketplace. We are supporting our local entrepreneurs and small business owners, November the 26th. Yes, from 2 to 6 p.m. It is a shopping experience, but I've also included something very, very important that we need, you all, and that is an estate planning segment. We have it. Yes, it is so needed. It's something that we often may hesitate on because we may feel like we don't have anything or it's too complicated of a process to even start, but it is necessary. Many of you who know my last surviving grandparent transitioned this past Monday. 88 years strong. And just another reminder of how important it is for all of us, both young and older, to have our affairs in order. So listen, no excuses, y'all. We are providing everything you need. That's good. You just need to be there, and we're going to help you put your affairs in order. That will help you breathe a little bit easier and know that you are actually preparing a love language. I call it a love language. Yeah. And so if you're interested in being a vendor for the Winter Marketplace, send your interest email to LaShannaLeonardMoore.com. All right. All of the news is out of the way.
Oh, that was good.
Thank you. Thank you. Are y'all ready to talk? Kim said, yes, let's do it. Yes, 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 let's do it. So, my special guest, licensed professional counselor, Aisha Morgan, she is the founder of Journey to Life Counseling and Community Services. She has her BS, Bachelor of Science in Psychology, and her Master's of Education in Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Smart woman. As I mentioned before, she is our resident therapist. Yes, we have adopted her. She cannot turn to the left nor to the right. She cannot relocate. She belongs to us. And she is proudly my God send counselor. I want you all to give a big welcome to our therapist practitioner, Aisha Morgan. We're back.
Back, hey y'all.
I guess I can say, since I'm officially auntie, like young people say, black back like we never left.
Not we never left.
Back like we never
Stayed
left.
overnight.
Okay, yes, we did. You look wonderful, Miss Morgan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. Well, I try. As always, it's great to have you with us. Holistically Well, which is all about being well, being whole. And the conversation that we're going to have really is from a holistic perspective. This is a holistic frame of thinking, because what we realize is that when we hear the word holiday, or we're even thinking about the last quarter of the year, everybody's thinking something different. Everyone has a different perspective, a different train of thought. If you are very business oriented, you may be thinking about the final quarter of the year in a completely different way than someone else. All of us have, at this point where we're at the end of the year, everyone has navigated the year in their own unique journey. And so I thought it was very appropriate, while we are entering into what is traditionally considered as the holiday season. It is hard to ignore it. For those of you who acknowledge it, for those of you who celebrate the holiday seasons, for those of you who may feel some kind of way about the holiday season, in this country, it is just absolutely impossible to bypass it and to ignore it.
Right.
And so for those of you who may be in places and spaces where you have no choice but to either acknowledge it or be a part of something that you don't want to be a part of, we're going to pray for you. But also, we want to be able to offer holistic conversation. And this is really going to be good. So I'm glad to have Miss Morgan here to help walk us through what this looks like. I would like to share with you all. Let me put my little picture on the screen.
Oh.
Y'all see, that's my brother and I. Of course, he's playing with my stove, okay?
I see.
As
Your
you can see in
eggs.
the background, he has a drum set. Well, he chose to play with my stove. This is a childhood memory of mine. We're in Louisiana at my grandmother's house. If you take a look at the floor, y'all can see just how old this picture is. Look at the pattern of the floor.
Look at that. Look at that.
My grandmother, who we called Mammon, we're at her house, and you can also see the look on my face, y'all. This is still the way I look early in the morning when I wake up, getting my life together and my mind together. I still have this look, minus the yarn bows. But this is a very affectionate picture that I wanted to share with you guys. Growing up, we were very committed to celebrating the holidays together. My daddy would do all the things. My dad would actually get on top of the roof and act like the Santa Claus was here and we were not asleep. And they didn't realize it back then, but y'all, that traumatized me. It was traumatizing because I'm shaking. I'm under the sheets. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not asleep. I'm not asleep. He's here and I'm not asleep. And it was something that they used to say about the salt in your eyes or something like that. They used to say it was a thing.
So much.
But my dad, as he grew deeper in the Word of God, and we became a Bible-based church, which I think is very significant. It wasn't just a charismatic church; it was a very Bible-based church. We continued to celebrate the holiday, but we did not make Christ compete with the calendar.
Mhm.
He's just far too big. He's far too big for that.
Yeah.
Also, culturally and historically, we know that the Gregorian calendar has set aside December for Christmas as the month that Christ was born. But as we do our study and our due diligence in the Word of God, we know that that is not necessarily a confirmed season within the Gregorian calendar,
Right.
because
Right.
they didn't follow the Gregorian calendar back then. That's something that we do. So we celebrate holidays as a time of family and coming together. But the essence of Christ and who he is in our lives, we dare not try to make him compete with, as I said, Christ versus the calendar and pagan and pagan traditions.
Mhm.
And for each of us and for each of you who are listening, I want you to be able to apply these words where they fit,
Right.
and what we're sharing as a holistic frame of reference for you. So we're talking about traditions, we're talking about family gatherings, we're talking about how we approach this season mentally, emotionally, and even socially.
Yeah.
Because whether it's your office job, your neighborhood, your family, any social setting,
Mhm.
you're going to encounter an invitation or some type of event where it's going to require you to make some decisions.
Right.
And so that's what we want to talk about. Miss Morgan, I'd like
Mhm.
to ask you, what thought or way of thinking
Mhm.
can help us frame a healthy relationship with this last quarter of the year?
I think as you were talking, I was actually thinking that what you were saying is just that. The acknowledgement, the one of those thoughts would be the acknowledgement, the awareness, the understanding that everybody's experience for the holidays is going to be different. And I think there was a time where we might not have been as tolerant of things, but now with everything going on, and I don't like keep going back to this, but it's a fact. It seems like since the pandemic, that has just shaken our thought process and our foundation for how we do things. We don't always do things the way we used to do, right? And if we are, we're wondering, is that still effective? But I think going into this holiday season, realizing that that there are very much people that may not celebrate the way that you do, may have different thoughts and ideas about how they want to celebrate the way that you do, and it doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it wrong. And so I think giving some space for that. Another thought I thought about was, in order to, I think I heard you say healthy holiday experience, um, making sure that we ourselves within are healthy or being our best, our healthiest self. When we show up to the family gatherings, when we show up to whatever that is, and we're looking for it to be a healthy, positive experience, how much are we bringing our healthy, positive self? And being able to check ourselves. We can't expect for it to be a healthy experience,
Yes, yes.
if we're not willing to put that in,
I
right?
like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So ensuring, and if we're not, then we may want to think of something else. We know ourselves, right? We know, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's for us to stand and look in the mirror. Are we at a point to where we can say we are our best version of who we are, that we are truly healthy, and if not, how can I expect or anticipate that experience be that much more healthy if I'm not healthy
If
myself?
I'm not.
Yeah, if
I
I'm
like
not.
that. I
Yeah.
like that because it also gives us a responsibility
Mhm.
to consider what we are bringing
Yep.
to said function or event or
Yeah.
location or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. I know we can easily say, well, I know if such and such is there, this is going to be a mess, or it's going to be
Mhm.
messy, or this is going to be. We can have these perceptions
Right.
of different spaces when we enter the space.
Right.
I like that you have charged us with the responsibility to consider how we are coming into a setting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I like that, and I like to always kind of keep that perspective because we're only in control of us. We're only in control of, and we talk about this so much,
Right.
but we're only in control of ourselves, what we think, what we feel, how we react, how we respond, and really what you bring with you,
Mm-hmm.
to those settings. So I really like that. Another thought, Lashana, before we move on from this question is also we're so charged with self-care and caring for ourselves, and that's really, really important. But also, how do we think of others? How are
Mm-hmm.
we considering and thinking of others?
Ooh,
And finding that balance. Are we spending time with others that we love? Are we valuing that time?
yeah.
Just like yourself, I too encountered some losses, the loss
Mm,
of some loved ones in a short period of time this year, and it makes it even
right.
more important to
Mhm.
say, how am I spending time with the people that I say that I love? you know
Mm,
or am I waiting to just, it's time to show up at Big Mama house?
right.
you know and
Right.
sometimes if that's all you have, that's all you have, right? But I think in thinking about it, this season, how are we really truly um loving on others and being and spending time with others? Yeah.
That's full. I like that. I'm sorry for your losses too, Miss Morgan.
Thank you. Thank you.
It This has reminded me of what you just shared about how we thinking of others, how we spending time with others. Reminds me of a Facebook post. I may have posted this about maybe the month September,
Mhm.
before we enter the final quarter of the year, just reminding all of us that we don't have to wait for holiday seasons to
Right.
do charitable things, to spend time with people, to give, to,
Right.
I don't know what this is about us. This holiday spirit is the only time that we can
Right.
be
Mhm.
communal
Yeah.
and do outreach.
Yeah.
And it just dawned on me one day because I I see more homeless people now than I ever have. I do believe that the pandemic is a part of that,
Mhm.
but just seeing people in all kind of displaced situations and it doesn't have to be very far from us. It can be within our own community, our own family, our own area, but just reminding us that benevolence and love and outreach and connecting with humanity is an
Every day.
everyday.
That's an everyday chore. Every day.
Yes.
Everyday chore. There's no specifics that says wait until. We know
Right.
that this season comes with that spirit. When you say, what is that holiday spirit? It's that spirit of love. It's that spirit of joy. It's that
Yeah.
spirit of helping your fellow man. But it doesn't just start when we start getting into this time of the year. We're charged to do that every day, to
Every
serve
single.
others, to love others, no matter what, no matter if we think that they're lovable or not. The charge is still
Mm,
that we show love and that we
mm,
serve.
okay. Let me segue into this. Y'all keep that thought, keep
Mhm,
that thought rule of not rule of thought, but just that frame of thought right there,
mhm.
because no matter who the person is, no matter who they are to us and vice versa,
Right.
Morgan has told us that we are charged to remember others, to think about how we are entering into a space. And
Yes.
so I want to talk about family dynamics for a minute. As we talk about the family dynamics, also the family, I want you to also think of yourself. So we're going to pose three different types of personalities.
That's
They're in our family or they are us. They are we are them.
If you can't find anybody that this resonates with, it's probably you.
Just might be you, Tim.
And it's
Yes.
okay. It's all right.
So let's look at this first one, family personalities and how to handle them. We have the instigator in the family. This is the person, and Ms. Morgan, please add to this. This is the person that is the investigator. They
Mhm,
are the one who probes. They like to dig. They've probably already heard something through the grapevine or in the community, and so this is the prime opportunity to probe and really, use their
mhm,
quote unquote self proclaimed journalistic skills to interview you, to interrogate you.
Mhm.
Ms. Morgan, talk to us about the instigator, please.
Well, the instigator's greatest thrill, I
Mm,
believe, is to stir up the drama and to get a rise out of someone.
mm,
Um, um, Good or bad, I think, to get a rise, right? To cast doubt, to cast negativity. I believe that is what their greatest mission and thrill is. And I would say to help if you can point out a person that you know of that fits that, or maybe it's even you,
mm,
to just not take it personally,
mm,
to try to use humor, to try to have a lot of compassion, and to set clear boundaries.
mm.
You don't have, if the main thrill or the objective is to stir up trouble, or to perpetuate drama, you don't have to engage in that.
Hmm.
So I would suggest to someone to be very mindful, of that engagement, unless you want to be swept up in it, just to be mindful. And it's okay, even if it's family,
Yes.
to limit, how much you are engaging and interacting. It's almost kind of like when you know it. We know what comes with the instigator. We know who they are. We
Yes.
know what they have a tendency to do. Then you have to prepare yourself and set those boundaries for yourself. And if not, then you may be swept up in the aftermath.
Right.
Yes.
So you encourage us to prepare for this
Yes.
encounter, pre-
Yes.
with
Prepare for
that
it. Yeah.
interaction. I
Yeah.
love
Prepare
that.
yourself for it.
Okay. Let's talk about the fixer.
Ah.
If you all remember this episode, I'm proudly dating myself. I don't care.
It's
This
all
is good. This is good times.
it
And this
is.
particular episode, I think the couch was on fire. And so while everybody around is trying to fan the smoke,
Mhm.
Film is like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. I've got it. Everything is all right. Everything is all right. So
Mhm.
I thought about that image when I was considering the fixer, the person who is the fixer in the family, or maybe you are the fixer. Miss Morgan, talk to us, please, about the fixer.
Ah, my favorite one, I believe,
Mm,
if I had to pick. This is a individual with the fixer mindset, has a natural reaction to want to fix things, want to save others, want
mm,
to jump in there and rescue.
mhm,
They know everybody at the family gathering that has the problem, and they are prepared with the solution.
mm,
Um, but I definitely caution and would probably say to this person, how much of this need or desire to fix is really truly about you?
mm,
How much is it not so much about whatever it is you're trying to fix or resolve or rescue, but how much is it about you? How much is it really about your insecurities?
hmm.
How much really is it about, if it's easy for you to fix? And that's usually how it works out. It's easy for, if I'm a fixer, it's easy for me to jump in there and want to fix someone else's situation, or want to rescue or solve this problem. And it's very well probably because I'm struggling with trying to fix my own.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So, just as it's necessary for us to know, and to discern when to help, when to get her, because some people may have genuine spirits and genuinely want to, but just like we have to know when is it okay to help, it's also important that we know when it's okay to back up.
Mm.
When this situation isn't for you, right?
Yes, yes.
When it's time to let this situation heal on its own,
Mm.
right? Right. And sometimes as a fixer, we want to jump in there because we know, but how
Yes.
much are we preventing, our Father Most High from doing his job when we jumping in there doing that? So,
Wow.
yeah.
And how would the fixer respond to a family member who knows that they have been given the title fixer? Everyone knows that this is the go-to person, that this is the fixer.
Mhm.
How does the fixer respond when the weight is put on them?
Sometimes, I mean, if you have a fixer that is not able to appropriate, they're not able to distinguish between what's theirs and what's not. It may look like they may take on a lot more than this not even called for. You
Hmm.
know, this person may idealistically may think I can fix this situation, but when it comes down to actually coming through with the solution, they may not be able to. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, that's one response I see.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm,
Listen, you all, I have been the fixer, okay? And so I
mhm,
often have to do this right here.
mhm, mhm,
Ooh.
mhm.
And I probably many of you who
Yeah,
are watching, many of us tend to be
yeah,
fixers.
yeah. I'm a fixer too. I'm a
Yeah.
fixer too. I'm a helper too. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm a helper too. I mean, I'm a help. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
help. I got it. I'm a help. I got
Mm-hmm.
it. But sometimes that's not what is meant for us to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to allow that time and that space for
Yeah.
somebody else to come up with the solution.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah.
know, for us not always, and that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
If you already have the answer, always, how much
Always.
pressure is that? How
Right.
much pressure is it when you don't?
So maybe the fixer's challenge, and I'm speaking to myself as
Mhm.
well, is to relieve ourselves of being the slack picker upper.
There you go.
The slack picker upper. I love
There
it. I
you
love
go.
it.
There you
You
go.
all, let's move to this one. Let's move
Mhm.
to the griever, the person that is grieving. And I want to insert in this, Miss Morgan, as you share with us about the griever, that grief, again, is a holistic
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
This may be the grief of various things. Talk
Mhm.
with us about that, Miss
The
Morgan, if you.
grief of various things, the grief, the loss of loved ones that might have passed on, the grief, the loss that we experience, you know, if there's a loss or an ending or breakup in a relationship, the grief, the loss that we experience if we have to, you know, leave a particular job that we love, or we have to, you know, end a friendship, relationship that we once loved. You know, many people are struggling with all types of grief. Just
Mhm.
the grief of, and this is one that is really big, just the grief of not knowing who I am now and having to mourn the person that I was.
Ooh,
You know, the
yes.
person that I once was, the person on the other side of trauma, the person on the other side of this whole pandemic, the person on the other side of that experience, having to grieve what I once was. You
Mm,
know, a person who may have medical issues and it forces them to experience some sort of changes in their physicality, and they may not be able to do the things that they used to do. The grieving of that, you
mm.
know, the mourning of that, you know. But I would suggest and talk to that person. I do talk to many people that experience this to let them know that it's okay for them to feel what it is that they feel. We actually encourage people to sit in
Mhm,
what you
mhm.
feel. Sometimes we society tells us it's not good if you're crying. You know, if it's not good if you stay there too long. Yeah, yeah, it's okay sometimes to sit in it so that
Yeah.
you can feel it, so you can know what it is. You know, I see a lot of people trying to trying to hurry up, you know, wipe my face, let me hurry up so I don't appear to be, you know,
Right.
like I don't have it all together, right? But sitting in it and acknowledging the emotion and acknowledging how you feel and acknowledging how challenging it is, that is that is you having it together, right? So
Hmm.
first, letting a person know that it's okay to feel what you feel. Allow yourself to remember.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to remember, to celebrate those memories.
Is
Yeah.
there a such thing for the griever? Is there a such thing as holding back the vulnerability of your emotion if you are in a space that you do not trust?
Hmm.
Or does that become the opportunity to be vulnerable in a space that you may not trust? How would a griever handle untrusting spaces?
I think that then the emotions they tend to hold the emotions and things within. And if you're not talking to anybody about those and you don't feel comfortable or safe in that space, then it's probably being overcome, or it presents as maybe not being able to regulate
Mm-hmm.
those emotions. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that I mean, it's like anything else. If you hold it in and hold it in and hold it in and don't let it out, or don't let it out in time enough,
Mm-hmm.
then it can become like that pressure that bursts at
Yes.
some point. So, but we understand definitely what it means when a person maybe doesn't feel safe to share, or safe to open up, or safe to express those feelings. I don't advocate for a person doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely finding somebody that you can connect with, whether it's another therapist or a clinician, or somebody that you do trust, to be able to share that when you feel like you're able to, when you
Yeah.
feel safe and it's comfortable for you to do so. It's important to do that. So you're not sitting there filled with pressure, about to explode any day now. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you something off script because it has just been it's been nudging me since we've entered the holidays, and that is the idea of seasonal depression.
Yeah.
I do not want to discount it as a real experience and a real emotion. I am, however, not sure if it is a clinical diagnosis, but I know that seasonal depression is a serious thing.
Mhm.
The question that's just kind of been brewing in me is seasonal depression something that we should expect?
Hmm.
Should a
No.
person be in the mindset of, well, this is the same time of the year, or that the season is getting ready to change, the climate is changing, let me get ready for it? It almost seems to me, and again, I want to approach this in a very delicate way,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I'm glad that you're here to share with us. But it begins to feel sometimes as an expectation of depression, or a preparation to carry a burden
Right.
because of the shift of a season.
Right. I don't know. I don't believe that it should be an expectation. I don't. And if it is an expectation, if people are actually entering into the season with the expectation that they're going to feel and or encounter that, then where is the hope? You know, where is that hope? Where are those opportunities to prepare for something different? If you're preparing
Mm-hmm.
for the depression, then you're not actively preparing for the positive
Mm.
emotion, for the joy.
Ooh, I
Does
like
that
it.
make sense? Yeah.
Yes, it makes
Yeah. If
sense.
I'm looking at December saying, "Ooh, when December comes, I'm going to have an abundance of bouts of sadness and heavy moods," then it prevents me from it shapes how I walk and how I approach
Mm,
December.
mhm, mhm,
Right.
mhm.
And if every day is important for us to live life,
Yes.
then am I robbing myself by not living in that fullness of joy, or at least telling myself I have access to it
Ah,
every day as it get closer to
yes.
December? Yeah. Yeah.
Access.
Access.
And to pursue the access, run
Yeah.
to the access,
Yes.
aggressively pursue the access of hope, the access of freedom, the access of joy. These are gifts freely given to
Mhm.
us by
Yes.
the Creator that we
Yes.
can receive and embrace as ours.
Right.
This is our right to
Right.
live in hope, to live in freedom, to live in healing. Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
And I think that just, because traditionally, when we think of this holiday season, it's supposed to be traditionally filled with
Mhm.
joy, joy,
Mhm.
joy, joy down in my heart. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right,
the
right.
most wonderful
Yeah,
time of the year.
exactly.
Well, for some, maybe.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
some, maybe. But
Yeah.
we have to have that the space to know that for others, maybe not so much.
Mhm, mhm.
And it's not just holiday. I first learned that somebody had a summer depression, and that was different for me.
Oh,
So yeah,
wow.
I had only heard of seasonal when it comes to the holidays, but this
Right.
past summer, for the first time, I actually heard of a summertime, an
Wow.
onset of summertime depression. You know, it's fueled by people, the comparison, looking at others enjoying and not
Hmm.
being able to because of their own situation. You
Hmm.
know, and then encountering that down, feeling down and sad and depressed as a result of that. So I would say no, don't go into it expecting. Yeah, yeah.
I love that. Wow. For those of you who are just joining us, I see you coming in. We are discussing the holidays and our well being. I am joined with licensed professional counselor Aisha Morgan. If you're just catching us, you got to catch the replay. Make sure that you check the replay. We have covered quite a bit of meaty information in just the time that we've been together. We're talking about handling the holidays with personalities and within family dynamics, the tradition of the holiday, whether you celebrate it or whether it is the time of year where you absolutely do not look forward to it.
Right.
How do we relate to one another? All of these different things. How do we handle ourselves in social settings? This is the conversation that we're having. Miss Morgan, I want to ask you, when do you know that
Mm-hmm.
it is time to change tradition? And tradition is a loaded word.
Mm-hmm.
Since we are specifically circling around holiday and holiday season,
Mm-hmm.
how would you approach um, advising someone?
Well, we change things, I believe, when it no longer works.
That's good.
Right?
Oh,
When it no longer works. Right?
as simple as that,
As
huh?
simple as that, when it no longer works. You know, some of the traditions that we found ourselves in are traditions that we don't even know we don't even realize they're traditions. It's just something that we've done over and over and over and over again because our family did it, right?
Mhm, mhm.
You know, but if it doesn't work, then it just doesn't work.
Mhm.
If it's no longer, you know, we no longer have the same intent or value or meaning behind what it was they were doing, then it may be time to make
I
changes.
like
It
that.
may be time to make
That.
changes. And it's okay. That's perfectly
Yes.
okay to create something different, to start your own tradition, to start your own thing. It may bring about a little freshness.
Yes. I like
Maybe,
that.
yeah, yeah.
We have a question. Let's see.
Okay.
Kim asks from the Mocha Widow, is there a correlation between seasonal depression and the time change with us having less daylight?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, and I believe that's a part of the premise is during this particular time change, we have fewer hours of daylight, and therefore, you know, people are likely to fall in that negative and experience those negative moods and negative emotions. You know, just like when we have more sunlight,
Hmm.
it's more brightness, more joy, and you oftentimes hear, you know, when you're feeling down or feeling low, just go step out into the sun because it
Right.
has a tendency to
Vitamin
bring
D.
that forward. Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
yes.
That's a good question. I would even add to that from the nutrition, supplement, and holistic perspective that whereas the sun is such a naturalizer and a neutralizer, and it gives us the vitamin D and the serotonin. When we
Mhm.
lose access to that, from a creative perspective, that I would say to us that there are ways that we can cultivate it. I usually like to play with the types of lighting in a
Yeah.
room, maybe in my office, if this is the room that I retreat.
Mhm.
I like to go to bed with a book.
Mhm.
So I may change out my nightstand light bulb.
Mhm.
Any room in the house that you want to maybe create a different look,
Mhm.
bring some newness or something fresh, maybe plants, maybe
Yeah.
colors or patterns, and let that be your space that you resort to. With nutrition, I would say foods that are that that provide us with the serotonin that we need, those chemical enzymes that the brain naturally releases, those feel goods.
Right.
Fruit, which is really good. Pineapples, the bromelain in pineapples. Cranberries have a natural serotonin. Spinach, as far as vegetables are concerned, spinach is really good. All of your green leafy vegetables. This is the time to explore all of the colors of the rainbow when it comes to vegetables. Um, this is how we can really experience a holistic
Yeah.
benefit
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
happiness and peace
Yeah.
by what we eat, by what we entertain, even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, staying inside. I think during the season, and a lot of places, it's generally during this time of year cooler or cold, and
Mhm.
so people are forced to stay inside. And so we find that the occurrences of those, depressive episodes and things like that, stemming from people that don't get out, a lot. And so we
Mhm.
encourage people when they can to get out, get some fresh air, you
Yeah,
know, um, you know, open up the windows,
right.
open up the doors, put some sun on your face, things of that nature.
This is good. This is
Mhm.
good. You actually you've already kind of segued, actually, Miss Morgan, into what I was about to ask you, which is cultivating the joy. Thank you for
Oh,
that question too, Kim.
thank you. Yes.
And move on.
To
Sean says,
move on.
lady. Thank you, Miss Move On. Thank you for joining us. You're talking about already different ways to cultivate
Mhm,
breath,
mhm,
um, joy,
mhm,
liberation,
mhm,
freedom, finding ways to
mhm,
do that.
mhm.
Would you expound on that a little bit more? When we hear, because this is a trendy term too, I have discovered. Cultivating joy. It's time to
Mhm.
cultivate joy. Let's
Cultivate you.
cultivate. It sounds so nice and so PBS and so
Right.
great. But how
Mhm.
do you cultivate joy? And then we have a question and I'll answer that.
Okay. So if we look at the word cultivate, here we go. The root word.
Yes.
Cultivating joy basically is intentionally bringing joy into your life, into one's life, and we do that by gathering it up. The word cultivate is to gather it up, to nurture it, to help it to grow, right? And so
Hmm.
when we think about joy, and cultivating joy, what that's saying is, in my personal and professional opinion, when we are in circumstances where joy may not be as evident, or the joy may not be within our proximity, then we have to reach out for it. We have to find it. We have to
Hmm.
gather it. We have to call it in,
Yes.
right? We
Yes.
have we have to do that, right? And how that works. And when I'm thinking, I mean, joy is that uplifting, positive feeling, that positive, emotion that we get. And some may say, well, where does it come from? Well, some may say it comes from within,
Hmm. Hmm.
and some maybe every time you can't access it from within because of your circumstances. So you have to reach for it. You have to pull it. You have to gather it.
Yes.
You have to store it up, right?
Yes.
You have to bring it in,
Oh my.
right? I
Yes.
love the scripture says the joy of the Lord is my strength,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so when my circumstances look around and it doesn't produce that much joy within me, I have to find it. So that means I have to, number one, shift my focus,
Mm-hmm.
right? I have to shift
Mm-hmm.
my focus and my mindset on things that may bring me joy, as instead of my circumstances. That weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And joy cometh in the morning when we open up our eyes and
Yes.
make a choice to focus on what it is that's bringing us joy,
Ooh,
right? So shifting your focus, right? Fostering those healthy, positive, supportive relationships. Sometimes I may have to go find my good friend that has a tendency to smile and laugh and giggle a little bit
right.
more than I do in this season, right? I may
Yes.
have to do that, right? And it's good to have people in your life that you know that you can go to, that are going to be supportive of you, that are going to be more encouraging, and are going to help to lift you up. A big thing for me, number 3, practicing gratitude.
Mm. All right.
Practicing gratitude. Practicing gratitude. Taking the time to appreciate even the little things in your day-to-day life. Even the simple things that
Yes.
can make you feel joy. Getting connected. I think I might have said it earlier. Getting connected to other people
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm.
bring you joy, and or things. Sometimes we forget when we're having a rough spot, or even if we're not feeling something,
Yes.
we tend to forget. What are the stuff that we used to do that used to make
Yes.
us smile? Who
Absolutely.
is it that can I reintroduce myself to something that I did back in the day that I used to
Right.
giggle and laugh? I
Right.
won't do it now, but I sometimes, when I feel like I need more joy, I think in my head that I'm gonna go put on some roller skates, and I think I'm gonna get my roller skate on, but but then
Right.
again, because I remember the music and I remember the fun we used to have when we went roller skating, honey. But
Yeah.
no, yeah. Wisdom says no, not today. Not today. Wisdom say, remember that time you fell? But
That's
getting
funny.
connected, reacquainting yourself with those
Yeah.
things that you used to do that brought you joy.
Mhm,
And then lastly, I think just practicing good self-care, taking care of yourself,
mhm,
taking care of
mhm,
yourself.
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It just never fails. Yeah, I be wanting to run. I want to get up and just run. You give us nuggets that sometimes the nuggets fall very gently and they
Drizzling
land
rain.
in your lap. And then sometimes the nuggets just rock and knock you over. Yes! And you are so on point about it because my dear friend, she's on now. We literally were just talking yesterday
Mhm.
about finding joy and gratitude
Yeah.
in every
Everything. Everything.
and
Everything.
and you shared just a few minutes ago as well that if based on our perception of this time, this holiday season and this gathering and
Mhm.
all things that are supposed to be festive, a lot of people will also start to think about what they don't have, who they don't have, not just in grief, but maybe
Yeah.
somebody who wants a significant other, or the culture calls it, what is it? They call it cuffing season, that you find
Mhm.
your cuddle buddy and
I ain't got nobody to cuff.
you don't
Yeah.
have,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
don't have nobody to cuddle with. You just out here in
Yes.
the cold and alone.
It's out here. It's hard out here in these streets. I'm telling
Right.
you. I'm a single people. I'm a single people. Hold yourself. Hold yourself. Hold yourself.
Get you a nice fleece blanket.
Hold yourself. Nice
And
little
so,
positive.
those feelings are valid,
Yes.
because we are made for companionship. That is just the truth. We are. If there's nothing wrong of having the desire. Oh, Sean gave the emojis, the crying emoji.
I see the crowd.
So it is so true, and I think that if we don't learn how to train
Mhm.
our minds and our emotions to find the joy,
Mhm.
find the gratitude, find the hope, then we can um, also creep into envy and
Mhm.
comparison.
Yes.
And these joy robbers and thieves will enter into our world. Would you please
That's
just give us
right.
a little bit
That's right.
on
And
that?
I oftentimes forget who said it, and I'll find that at some other point and add that to the comments if I need to. But comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm,
We oftentimes hear that, and
mhm,
during the season is so filled with things where it forces us to look over at
mhm,
what
mhm,
somebody else has or what someone else is doing, and inadvertently tell ourselves
mm,
we're less than or not enough,
mm.
or we don't have enough. Basically it breeds discontentment. Yeah. And so it's ever so important, as you said, for us to, yes, there you go, it's for us to change our mindset, to really focus on where we are and what are those things in our lives that we can be ever more thankful for, and really, sit with that, sit with that, sit with that, sit
Mhm,
with that,
mhm.
because it can be very different. It is different for
Yes.
everybody. It's not the same for everybody. So
Mm, it's so good. Thank you for that. Oh, okay. Okay, Sean, you're talking to Mocha Widow. Your holiday season is filled with joy and love. All
Yeah.
right. I'm not going to continue to hold this. This is really, 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 really good. Sean says, are there special teas to drink for holiday stress? I have some that I could recommend that really are for stress in general, and the holiday season can tend to amplify or complicate stress, existing stress, as well as bringing on additional stress.
Mhm.
But you've got teas like, and I'll type them in the bar, chamomile tea. And these are the teas that I'm going to recommend are teas that aren't, that will not require a lot of caffeine
Mhm.
because you want to be calm. You don't want to go into a state of panic, or you don't want the energy to be in overload, artificial energy, should I
Mhm.
say, to be in overload. So I would recommend chamomile tea, a lemon balm tea, peppermint tea. Honey is a natural sweetener. Back in the day, my grandmother would drop a peppermint in the tea.
Mhm.
They're soothing, they feel good, they're soothing to the soul. Homemade soups, I'm good for making a homemade soup, things that just make you feel good on the inside. So
Yeah.
I would recommend those three. Would you like to speak to that at all,
I'm
Ms. Moore?
not a tea drinker.
Mhm.
I'm not much of a tea drinker. But I definitely enjoy when stress times. I know she was talking about tea, so I don't have anything to add for that. But I do like mindfulness and
Mhm.
those type of things when we encounter stress and stuff like that to really get you something, get you a good app that's going to with all those pleasant sounds, whether it's rain
Yes,
or oceans or
yes.
whatever it is, or I'm into now. I think I'm into harp and piano
Oh,
sounds now. And so try those.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like to put on, I forget,
Mhm. Mhm.
soundscapes.
Mhm.
I have an app for soundscapes, and especially at night, that really helps to kind of
Yeah.
settle my mind down
Yes.
so that my body can get still and I can get the sleep that I desperately need. Miss Morgan, this is so very good. I have, we're getting ready to turn the corner to close,
Mhm. Mhm.
but we offered people an opportunity to type in asking questions on our Instagram
Oh, okay.
stories. And so there are two questions that I would like to ask you from the poll that was taken.
Okay.
The, the first question says, I've been struggling with depression, but I really want to enjoy my family. My meds make me sleepy. Can I skip my meds for the day? I'm assuming the day being family gathering. I
Mhm.
want to be in the moment.
Yeah. I would advise that you consult with your treating physician who prescribed the medication. I'm not a licensed physician, so I would be remiss to advise you to do anything about your medication. So my advice would be to consult with your treating physician and talk to your doctor about whether or not it's good to skip the dosage of medication for that day or for a particular time period. Some of the medications, the reactions or the adverse reactions may not be that much if you were to put off, taking them a day, a couple hours, maybe taking it earlier or later. The reaction may not be as significant
Mhm.
as it might be if you just skip it, altogether. But
Mhm.
um, talk to your doctor about that and have your doctor to advise you. Another thing I would say is if you're looking at, if you're going to spend the whole day with family and that you have medication that may have a tendency to take you, make you sleepy and you may not be able to stay with family or enjoy that the whole day, then you
Mhm.
may want to compromise and just really adjust
Mhm.
your plans. Don't beat yourself up because you can't stay the whole day. You can either just say, okay, maybe not a whole day, maybe I'm only going to go 3-4 hours, before the medicine kicks in and I can get sleepy, or do like we do with my family. You got a back room back there?
Ah, right.
And it's about planning. It's about
That's
planning and
good.
making sure you get what you need out of your experience. So if you know you want to be
Mm.
there, and enjoy that time, and you got a medicine that's going to make you sleepy and you don't want to leave, then
Mhm.
figure out, whose house you're at and see if it's okay for you to you stay overnight and pack your bag
I
and
love
enjoy your family.
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I put those notes on the screen for those of you who are listening, and hopefully the person that wrote in is listening and received that information. Here is the next one. The next person says, "This is funny. How do we tell a family member that we don't want them to fix a dish? What do you do with that?"
Okay. Okay. I got a couple scenarios. Okay, so normally if it gets to the point, so I think too much. I really
Wow.
think too much. If it gets to the point to where you have to tell them you don't want the dish, then that's probably an indication that they've been bringing this dish several times, several times.
Right.
So one or two things. Um, Personally, I probably would not say I don't want the, hey, don't bring that dish. I wouldn't say
Mhm, mhm,
that. I
mhm.
would probably accentuate something else that I would want them to bring, or
Ah,
suggest something else that I would want them to bring. So for example, if it's that pie stays around after the holiday is over, well into the next year, and nobody touches the pie. And so sis, stop bringing the pie, and you don't want to tell her that, you don't want to hurt her feelings. Just
right.
ask her, this year, instead of the pie, how about I get you to bring me some paper plates? You designate, you purposely and strategically designate what you want them to bring.
Oh,
You leave
wow.
no room for, this year we're
Right,
not doing pies.
right.
So
There's no easy way around it.
yes,
Wow.
yeah. So gently, I would say, I would not
Mhm,
say, of course, you
mhm,
don't want to,
mhm,
hurt anybody's feelings and things
mhm.
like that. At that time, you may end up with, situation on your hands,
Oh, yeah,
at the get together, but there's a way to say everything.
that's so
So
true.
yeah,
Be gentle
yeah.
with it. I love it. I love it. We have covered a full scope of conversation and
Yes.
thought and emotion, and from internal to external, family, social. And Ms. Morgan, thank you once
Oh,
again
my
for
pleasure.
being with us and for
I love it.
sharing these nuggets. I hope that you all have enjoyed it. I want to I want to make sure that you know how to connect with practitioner Morgan. So I'm going to put her information up on the screen. You can find her website, which is Journey to Life, the number two,
Mhm.
cccs.com. And she is also on social media. She's on Instagram at Journey to Life CCS. It's very consistent across the board.
Same thing.
Book, right. You cannot mess it up. Journey
Mhm.
to Life. That's the number two, CCS. And I think I missed one. I've got Instagram, Facebook, and your website.
Yeah, it might be Twitter, or I don't even call it Twitter now.
Yeah,
Oh
they've
yeah.
changed their name, X.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you're on there as well as
Mhm.
Journey
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
Life,
Mhm.
CCCS. You all, please connect. She is a voice. I'm thankful for you agreeing
Oh yeah.
to come on this platform with me. And not, she's not short of time, I'll tell you that. It's not that she doesn't have anything to do, but because I value your words, your wisdom, and we need to hear you.
Uh,
And I am thankful that more of us are hearing you. Thank you, Kim. She says this has been so very helpful. She says that to
um,
you, Miss Morgan.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you having me. I really, really do. I appreciate you having me. I too desire that people be healed and healthy and whole, and that we do it the way in which the Most High intends for us to do it. And so sometimes it takes a nudge, it takes, helping, linking up and
Yes.
grabbing your brother and your sister and helping them to get there.
Yes.
So I appreciate you for allowing me to speak and to share.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure. You all find this information, catch this replay. You can go on to my website,
Yes.
holisticallywell.co, and that's holistically with a W. And excuse me, you can catch the replay, subscribe, and share this with others. And as I always say, be well, be whole. Thank you for joining us. Until the
Yay.
next time. Thank you, Miss Morgan.
Thank you. Bye bye.